Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is Psychic Medium Raymond Guzman, and I hope everybody's doing well today. Today I'm going to be doing a psychic reading, giving you the psychic tea on JFK Jr, John F. Kennedy Jr. I'm going to give you all the tea that I get from Spirit. Now, disclaimer, viewer discretion is advised. I'm going to ruffle some feathers. People are going to come for me in the comments because some people already have their own opinions about what happened to JFK Jr. Is he alive or is he dead? Some people say that he is helping President Trump, and some people say that he is dead. I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory about him. He is the son of John F. Kennedy, the president that was assassinated. Now, on the evening of July 16th, 1999, John F. Kennedy Jr., the son of U.S. President John F. Kennedy, died when the light aircraft he was flying crashed into the Atlantic Ocean off Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts. Kennedy's wife, Carolyn Bessette, and sister-in-law, Lauren Bessette, were also on board and died. So this happened on July 16th, 1999. Okay. People are speculating whether he's alive or he's dead. I'm going to get to that eventually, but I'm going to tell you the story of what I hear, the things that I get from Spirit. Some people will call it a story. I call it psychic insights, okay? John F. K. Jr., I'm just going to call him JFK Jr. I'll probably just call him John, short. Was a very, of course, attractive man. You can just see it. He took after his father. He was born into this life. I honestly feel like him and his dad had a soul bond connection and were so alike that they were born into this world, and it was going to be a temporary thing, okay? I get immediately that JFK Jr. was not entirely happy living in the shadow of his father's success, you know, his presidenthood. It was a lot of a lot of pressure for him to carry because he was his father's son, you know, and when you are a president's son, you know, you carry that stigma, you carry that energy wherever you go. There's a lot of pressure. People are expecting you to be better than your father or to do as good as your father, and in his mind, I feel like he didn't want to be compared to his father. He loved his father, but I also feel like it was a very sensitive subject that he would not have necessarily have brought up, yet he was very proud of his dad and all of the things there. I feel like John looked to an escapism, not having his father figure there. He looked for an escapism to grow up, is what I'm getting. And he found this when his adolescent years that he, you know, he had this charisma. And from that age, I feel like he was already having a lot of girlfriends, a lot of girls and people that were just interested in him. Though I don't feel like he went throughout his entire life being happy. I do get that he was a lot more sad. He was an empath, obviously. So for those of you that don't know that, I feel like he was definitely an empath, and he felt things. He felt the heaviness of the world so deeply, but he tried to find it through hiking, through sports, through being out in nature, through working out, being, you know, the tough guy, taking risks. His soul was one that I hear Spirit say that was very adventurous and spontaneous, and he was one that loved to take risks. He lived in a very fearless manner. I think because he saw his dad assassinated, you know, meaning that he knew that his dad was taken away from him in such a violent manner. I feel like that he took life very lightly at that point, you know, growing up. I feel like he wasn't afraid to die, in other words. So again, he took risks and chances, and I feel like his father was guiding him from the spirit world throughout all of this. And then he was a player, you know, John, and I mean that respectfully when I say that John was very much, you know, the ladies' man, the Casanova. Not that he was, you know, wild and of course having sex with 3 or 4 girls, but women. But I see that he had that, you know, where he went through a period of that, which was not his authentic self, meaning that he would have had relationships with various people open relationships, in other words. And then Carolyn came along. She's very demure, very, beautiful. She is someone that could be, his partner. But I feel like things were not the way that she's a very different energy. She was very, what's the word? I feel like very controlling, very jealous of John. And I feel like I hear him saying, really, Carolyn, she's just a friend. And I feel like she was freaking out that there was a lot of women that wanted to be with John. They wanted to get in his circle. They wanted to communicate with him. And I just hear him saying to Carolyn, you're exaggerating, Carolyn. She's just a friend. And I feel like Carolyn says, she's not just a friend. You're communicating with her. So there was an argument that they had been having prior to the flight. And I feel like in the flight, this was something that she was not going to let go. She knew a lot of stuff that he was doing. I feel like she was not, when you are a woman like Carolyn, you have friends, in places, in high places. You have people that will be like your tipster. Now on social media, when things go down and, somebody, there's a lot of people that are like paparazzi. They give tips to, these media companies or whatever, and they'll give them like a message or send them a message, a tip, that so-and-so, we saw so-and-so, or you just pick up their phone and they record everything, and then they send that video clip off to the sources for them to use it then in their videos. That's what a lot of like drama channels do, and they're on their YouTube, they get a lot of this gossip and stuff. So I feel like in that time, this was like in the 90s already, the turn of the century. It was going to be the turn, the millennial turn, 2000, we were going to enter. I feel like he had many hopes and things to do. Do I believe that John FK Jr is alive? No. I don't believe that he is alive. I feel like this was something that this group of people have formed in their mind. There may be someone that looks like him, that looks a lot like him, or that has had plastic surgery to look like JFK Jr., now more mature in age, but I don't feel like this man is alive. What would he have had gained from faking his death is what I have to say. And I know a lot of people may not agree with that, but I'm giving you what I see from spirit. There's no reason that he would serve any other purpose. These are a lot of conspiracy theories that I'm hearing from people and that I've heard for the past couple of years, and I'm here to kind of set this straight and give you the tea. And whether you agree with me or not, that's up to you. You have your own opinion, to each their own, but we're going to agree to disagree. I do feel like he did pass, and I do feel like this was someone that wanted him taken out. He had enemies, even though he was a very charming man, etc. He had enemies, but I also feel like they were people. There was something that it was a white man, obviously, but it dealt something with his business, with the magazine, and that there was like bad blood that John had created. There was definitely bad blood, and I pick up an older male that would have been tied to that plane being rigged, just like Aaliyah's plane was rigged, just like Jenny Rivera's plane was rigged. All these celebrities that have died from a mysterious plane crash, just like Kobe Bryant. All of these events have been triggered by people that wanted them out. I don't feel like JFK was in the wrong state of mind to fly that night. I don't feel like he was, drugged up or doped up or anything like that. No, I feel like he was in all his five senses, but I also feel like the radio, the communication, something with the communication was not right. It was not good. And then they lost altitude, I feel like, and then boom, that happened where they all died. But I get that in the plane itself, I see Carolyn's sister panicking and screaming, Lauren, and I feel like Carolyn, the girls were screaming. He was trying to get control of the plane, but nothing worked, and it happened very instantly. So their transition into the spirit world was very, very fast. But I do get that there was a lot of secrets that he kept he was flirting with other women, so Carolyn had validity to what she was telling him, that she didn't like that part of him. But he is a man, and his father had the same tendencies, and that is in the blood. I know that some people are going to be like, well, that's not true. People choose to cheat. It's not that they are like that, but I feel like it was just in their DNAs. Another thing that Spirit is wanting me to talk about, the Kennedy curse. Was there actually a curse? Was there actually dark magic on this family? The answer is yes. There was dark demonic energy. I don't know what to this extent, because I haven't read his father, that JFK was in. John F. Kennedy, the father, the president, something he was into that created this. Well, him and his brother, there was some kind of darkness that the family had, that there was a curse, that a lot of the Kennedys have passed away very tragically, or from a very bad disease. So there was a curse, there was magic done. This was like black magic, very dark, done on the Kennedy family, and it runs through the Kennedy bloodline. Anybody that would be sharing that bloodline right now, they really need spiritual, to seek out a spiritual person to break that, or they can probably do it themselves. I'm breaking that. It's almost like a generational curse is what I want to say, because it's followed every single generation. But there definitely was a curse there, and I feel like it was a group of women that were witches that set this on Kennedy. I feel like it was maybe like he was very attractive. Sometimes when you're attractive, you attract psycho people, and psycho people don't really know anything. But if there was a group of a coven or witchcraft witches that were dark, they did place a curse on him. But what I get for JFK, that's neither here nor there, but I had to say that because I do feel like it had played a major role. All the conditions were right with the tampering of the plane, with the dark curse that they have over them. It was the perfect condition and atmosphere for all of this to go on. So people are going to be asking, well, where was John F. Kennedy Jr.'s guardian angel? The thing is that guardian angels can only protect us in certain situations. This was an exit point. I also feel like he was in a very low vibration with a lot of anger, things that were going on in the moments. Like I said, the weeks leading up to this thing that happened, the crash. So he would have been in a lower vibration. The thing that people don't understand is that when we're in a lower vibration, our angels cannot be there and intervene because it's a negative energy. Angels are of the light. They're a high vibration. They do not work with negative energy. But a part of this was his exit point. It was his time. He chose. It was Carolyn's time. Why would they have chosen to exit this world in that manner? So violent. So so fast, and they had so much more to achieve. Honestly, at this point, I can only tell you that it wasn't their time to die. Okay, this is one of those situations they chose to agree with this exit point, but it was not their time to die. I feel like he would have gone on to have other businesses, been very successful. Carolyn would have had some kind of they would have had children. Carolyn would have had some kind of I don't know, they would have had some kind of family going. I also feel like she would have had her own business going on, something with the fashion world. I don't know about that. And then the sister, she would have had her own career as well. But it was very tragic that all of this happened. But there was a lot of darkness at play, and again, the perfect conditions, and their souls were ready to just depart. Were to agree to this, letting this energy and kind of just departing in some way. It's kind of hard to explain all of this when you're listening to it, because it makes no sense when you think about it. Like, why would they want to exit this way in such a public manner? Well, he was part of the Kennedy line. There was a lot of danger around him. He had stalkers. They had stalkers. They had people that were at a low vibration that wanted, to get a piece at JFK all the time. I also feel like maybe I can't really I don't want to say it, but I have to kind of linger around that there were people that were in the mafia, or not mafia, but like the mob, that would have had associations and maybe some kind of connection to the Kennedy bloodline, okay? So, again, there's a lot of this going on. Again, I'm very limited on what I can say here on my YouTube channel, but I can just tell you that he had a lot of eyes, ears on him, a lot of psychic attacks, a lot of dark energy thrown at him, and he was not entirely happy, and he would never have been entirely happy because a piece of his life was missing. And I feel like he wanted to be with his father in many ways, and that is what Spirit is telling me. That's what he's telling me. That's the reason that he chose to exit this life and go ahead and go to the other side. His father needed him on the other side. JFK, the president, John F. Kennedy, he needed his son on the other side. I don't know all the inner workings on the other side as to why they would need certain people, but usually when certain people are called to the other side is because they play a very important role in this lifetime. And so I feel like in many ways that he is helping souls as a spiritual teacher on the other side. And he's also helping his family. He wanted to be there when his mother passed. So you know, it's confusing. It's crazy. Let me get to this point right here, because this is about to shut off. All right. So what I was saying about his mom, he wanted to be there when she passed. For whatever reason, she passed before him. She passed on May 19th, 1994. So it wasn't just his father needed him on the other side. It was his mother. And since he wasn't there with her in the spirit world when she passed, his soul was ready. Like they were calling him from the other side is what I'm trying to say. So I know that a lot of people are listening to that. Why would you say that he wanted to be there when his mother passed? He was already, I don't know if he was suicidal or he had thoughts of that, but when he lost his mom, there was like a spiral of events. Like when you lose your parents, some people can handle that and some people can't. And it's a part of evolution. He took it very hard. And again, I feel like when he lost his mom, it was the last blow. It was like he felt stripped. He felt like, you know, I have to be strong. I have, you know, to continue life. But why were my parents taken from me? Like, why was this is unfair. It's unfair. And so that's why I feel like he wanted to be there with it. Why I said why he wanted to be there with his mom when she passed in the spirit world. He wanted to join her. He wanted to be there. He wanted, I don't know if he wanted to die before his mom passed. Again, she passed before him, but I feel like before she passed, like he already wanted to pass. I don't know if he had like a close call, a near-death experience already that he never talked about, or an accident of some sort. I don't know, but there's something about him, because I keep hearing Spirit say, I keep hearing him say, I wanted to be with my mom when she crossed. So it's very weird because he didn't cross until after, you know, he didn't pass until like 1999. So this would make a lot of sense here. What I just said. I do feel like a lot of people were also looking, the paparazzi was all looking at his relationship with Carolyn. People didn't want them to be together. They were soulmates, but they didn't want them to be together. And I feel like John, again, he apologizes to her now in spirit. They are together in spirit, but he realizes that he was not right when he was here on earth for the decisions that he made. There's another woman who would have had, whoever he was in communication with, whoever he would have had an affair with, this woman is still alive. And I feel like she lives with that regret. She knows secrets and things, but she's either been silenced or in some way she can't come out and say it. But there's still a lot of focus on money. And I feel like money would have been given to her. And so I wonder if he would have had a child in secrecy to another woman, because I feel like there is still like a seed. There is a child. I don't know why I feel it, why Spirit is telling me that there is a child connected to JFK Jr. That is still living, that is here in the physical world, attached to an ex-lover that he had. I feel like this is the communication, that the problems between him and Carolyn. She knew that he had a child. And the scandal, can you imagine that? He was married to her and, you know, they were together, and this would have been like a big, big scandal, just big. He was always looking for the meaning of life. He had a lot of plans for things moving forward. He wanted to be happy, but none of this was able to go into fruition. If anything, you know, I feel like he is alive in the hearts of many. He is guiding other people, but I don't feel like he's alive, and that's the tea, guys. I feel like he is okay. I do feel like he is a teacher on the other side. He would be teaching other souls and helping them to be the most authentic version of themselves like he was, but he also wore a mask, and I feel like his mask was that he wasn't authentic all the time with himself, but he learned that lesson throughout Earth. And I say he wasn't himself always because I feel like he hid behind that mask. He hid the pain that he was actually going through, and people saw this very sexy, very, you know, attractive man, and they didn't see the human, the spiritual side to JFK. So big angel hugs to everyone. I want to thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you enjoyed this. Please leave in the comment section other suggestions and things that you would like for me to read. All right, guys, until next time. Bye.